Once there was a king. One day 2 women came to the king. One of the women was holding a baby boy. "O king," said the woman without the child, "we come to you because we have a problem. That woman has taken my child, and I want him back." "O king, it is not true," said the woman with the child. "This is my child, my baby boy." "Explain," said the king. "Why do you think the baby is yours?" he said to the woman without the child. "Well," she said, "I live with this woman. We both gave birth on the same night and nobody else was in the house." "Did you have no midwives?" the king said. "We had no money for midwives," the woman said, "and our husbands died. That is why we lived together. So we gave birth, but her child died, and my child lived. But I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she had taken my child and was breastfeeding it. When I told her to give my baby back, she said that it was her child and that I was lying." "She is lying," said the other woman. "My son lived, but she killed hers. She turned in her bed and smothered him. And look, my son is breastfeeding now. If he wasn't my son, would he breastfeed?" And it was true. The baby boy was breastfeeding. Said the king. He looked at both women and at the baby, but he did not know whose child it was. Both of them could be lying. He could not believe that one of them had smothered her child, but he could also not believe that the other person had stolen a baby. "I have an idea," said the king's advisor. The advisor was a strange man, but he was very clever and always had good ideas. "Yes? Because we do not know which woman is lying, and we do not know whose child it is. We should split the child in 2. We will give 1/2 to each woman. They both gave birth, so they should both have a child." The woman with the baby said, "What a great idea! Giving birth is so hard, so she should have half of the child." "Very well. You are a very clever man, Mr. Advisor." But the woman without the baby said, "No, you can't do that. Split my child in 2? Oh, the idea is horrible. If you want to do that, then I will go. I would prefer that my baby lives and she becomes his mother." "What do you think, O king?" said the advisor. "I can use magic to split the baby. It will not hurt." "Well, it probably won't be hurt." "I think you must decide," said the king. Said the advisor, "It is clear who is the mother. A real mother would not want her baby to be hurt. Because you think it is okay for the child to be split in 2, you cannot be the real mother." The woman holding the baby said, "But I am a great mother. Look, he is breastfeeding." "Children will breastfeed from cows if they need to," said the advisor. "Give him back to his mother." "Do as he says," said the king. So the woman gave the baby back to his real mother, and the baby was happy. "Thank you, O king," said the baby's real mother. The other woman looked angry, but she did not say anything. "I think we might split you in 2, said the advisor, "because you lied. You said that she smothered her baby when actually you stole her baby." The other woman went white. I am sorry, O king. I was just so sad." "She will live," said the king. "One death is enough for today." The 2 women said thank you and left, and the king and his advisor talked. "It is good that you decided," said the king. "I thought like a king, but not like a mother. It is clear that the woman could not have smothered her child because she was so sad when you said you would split it. Do you think it matters which mother the child has?" The king thought. "I think it matters that the mother loves her child. But it is easier to love a child who you have given birth to yourself, I think. And the woman who stole the baby would have to lie to him all his life. Nobody can live happily with such a big lie. By the way, I think we should make sure that all women in the country have a midwife." "A very good idea, O king," said the advisor. "If all women have midwives, then we will have to split fewer babies in 2. "Were you really going to split the child in 2? said the king. "Oh no," said the advisor. "I do not know magic like that. Words are the best magic, usually. The king thought about it, and he agreed.
Once upon a time, a girl named Goldilocks lived in a house at the edge of the woods. In those days, girls of hair were called locks. She was Goldilocks because golden hair ran down her head and shoulders. One morning, Goldilocks was out for a walk when she came across a beautiful bird. She followed that bird right into the woods, where her mother had said many times she must never go. But Goldilocks didn't think of that. Deeper and deeper into the woods she went. But where was the bird? It was nowhere to be seen. Goldilocks looked around. That's when she knew she was lost. But a house was not far away. I wonder who lives there, she thought. So deep into the woods she went up and knocked on the door. No answer. She knocked again. Still no answer. Goldilocks knocked a third time, and the door opened. But no one was behind the door. Well, the door is already open, said the girl, so I may as well go in. Goldilocks smelled a wonderful smell and soon knew why. On the table were 3 steaming bowls of oatmeal. All of a sudden, she realized how very hungry she was. What Goldilocks did not know, however, is that 3 bears lived in this house. In fact, that very morning, the 3 bears had sat down to their bowls of oatmeal. But the cereal was too hot, so they decided to take a short walk. They said to each other, by the time we return home, our oatmeal will be perfect. Gazing at the steaming bowls of oatmeal, Goldilocks thought, I'm sure whoever lives here won't mind if I take just one sip. She sat at the first chair and took a sip. Ah, she said, it is too hot. She moved to the next bowl and took a sip. Ah, she said, it is too cold. She moved to the third bowl and took a sip. It is just right. And before she knew it, the oatmeal was all gone. Goldilocks rubbed her tummy. I'm full. I must find somewhere to sit that's more comfortable. She went to the living room. 3 chairs were lined up in a row. 1 big chair, 1 medium-sized chair, and a wee little chair. I'm sure whoever lives here will not mind if I sit on just 1 chair, said Goldilocks. She sat on the big chair, but it was too hard. The next chair looks good, said Goldilocks. She moved to the medium-sized chair, but it was too soft. The wee little chair looks better, said the girl. She sat on the little chair, and it was just right. But when Goldilocks leaned back a bit, the chair broke into a dozen pieces. She plopped right on the floor. Oh, no! Goldilocks wailed. Then she yawned. There must be somewhere she could lie down for a short nap. The girl saw a ladder and climbed it to an attic. In a row, 3 beds were lined up, 1 big bed, 1 medium-sized bed, and a wee little bed. I'm sure whoever lives here won't mind if I lay down for just a short nap, she said. She laid down on the big bed, but it was too hard. She laid down on the medium-sized bed, but it was too soft. The girl lay down on the wee little bed, and it was just right as her head hit the pillow. Goldilocks was fast asleep. Just then, the 3 bears came home from their walker. Oh my, said Mama Bear. Did either of you leave the front door open? Not I, said Papa Bear. Not I, said Little Bear. Slowly the 3 bears stepped inside and looked around. Most odd, said Papa Bear, seeing his spoon in his bowl. Someone has been eating my oatmeal. Most odd, said Mama Bear, also seeing her spoon in her bowl. Someone has been eating my oatmeal. This is the most odd of all, said Little Bear. Someone has been eating my oatmeal, and they ate it all up. The 3 bears were very surprised, as you can imagine. With care, they stepped into their living room. Do you think someone was sitting in my chair? Said Papa Bear. I know someone was sitting in my chair, said Mama Bear. because I can see the seat cushion is pushed down, and I know someone was sitting in my chair, said Little Bear. Because it's all broken. The 3 bears were even more surprised at that. They climbed the ladder to their attic. Someone has been sleeping on my bed, said Papa Bear, who could see that his blankets were moved. Someone has been sleeping on my bed too, said Mama Bear, who could also see that her blankets were moved. Someone has been sleeping on my bed, said Little Bear, and look, she is still there. Goldilocks bolted awake. 3 bears were looming over her, and they did not look happy. "Oh, my!" said Goldilocks, jumping out of bed as quickly as she could. She climbed down the ladder and ran out the front door. The little bear chased after her. "Wait, please." Goldilocks stopped and turned around. "Tell me, Ed Little Bear, why did you come inside our house?" "I guess I didn't think," said Goldilocks. "And why did you eat my oatmeal?" said Little Bear. "Well, I guess I didn't think," said Goldilocks. "And why did you break my chair and sleep in my bed?" said Little Bear. "Well, I guess I didn't think about that either," said Goldilocks. They were silent. Goldilocks said, "I suppose I could have waited outside your door." "We were coming right home," said Mama Bear. "We might have invited you in if we knew you were hungry." "I'm sorry about the chair," said Goldilocks. "I guess you saw it broke." "Yep," said Mama Bear with a frown. "I'm good at fixing things," said Goldilocks. "If you have glue." "Of course we have glue," said Papa Bear. "What kind of bears do you think we are?" "I will make it up to you," said Goldilocks. "Come on in then, dear," said Mama Bear. "We'll start over," said Papa Bear with a nod. Come in," said Little Bear, jumping up and down with smiles. They skipped together inside the bear's house.
Once upon a time, there was a young man named Tom Smith. He was a nice person who wanted to find a job, but it was difficult because there weren't many jobs available. Tom felt sad because he didn't have money for clothes or entertainment like going to the cinema. When Tom was younger, he dreamed of becoming a footballer. He was good at football and tennis, as well as other sports. However, there were always other players who were better than him. Tom then had an idea. He thought that maybe he could find a job in a sports shop. He believed it would make him happy and provide him with money. Unfortunately, it was just an idea, and it never became a reality. Tom made a lot of effort to find a job. He checked the newspapers every day and sent out many job application letters. However, despite his efforts, he couldn't find a job. One day, while reading the newspaper, he noticed an advertisement about a fair taking place in the park near his house. Tom thought it would be interesting, so he decided to go. It was on the following Saturday, and he thought it would be a cost-effective way to spend his weekend. On Saturday, Tom walked to the park and bought a ticket for the fair. The weather was warm, the sky was blue, and the park was filled with beautiful flowers of different colors. Tom felt happy seeing them. The fair was enjoyable too. There were many people and various games. Tom played some games and won a box of fruit and a book about sports. Feeling hot and thirsty, he bought an ice cream and sat down to eat it, thinking about what he should do next. Suddenly, he noticed a sign in large letters that caught his attention. It said, "Madame Zelda knows the future. Do you want to know about your future? Come in and talk to Madame Zelda." Tom thought about it for a moment and decided to go inside. The room was dark, and an old woman with gray hair and a kind face welcomed him. She asked him to sit down, and then she told him to pick 3 cards. After examining the cards for a while, she looked serious and spoke. "I have something important to tell you," she said. "Do not go anywhere next Friday. If you make a journey, something bad will happen along the way. Remember this. and be careful." Tom left the fair, and the sunlight warmed his face. He didn't have much money and wanted to go home. He thought, "I'm not afraid of the future. Every day is the same for me. I don't go on journeys because I don't have a job." However, things changed when he received a letter on Thursday. It was a response to one of his job applications. He had an interview for a job in a sports shop in a town 30 kilometers away. Tom felt extremely happy about the opportunity. Realizing that he couldn't walk such a long distance, Tom remembered Madame Zelda's warning. He felt scared, but he tried to convince himself that the old woman couldn't possibly know the future. Despite his doubts, he couldn't sleep well that night. The next day, which was Friday, Tom went to the train station and bought a ticket. As he boarded the train, he sat next to an old man with white hair and a kind face, although his legs seemed to be injured. Tom felt sympathy for him. During the train ride, the old man offered Tom some tea, and they started a conversation. Tom introduced himself and learned that the old man couldn't answer questions about his journey. Suddenly, there was a loud noise, and the train came to a halt. People on the train were scared and looked out of the windows, but they couldn't see anything. Tom assured his new friend that he would go and investigate the situation. He asked the guard about the problem and was told that a large tree had fallen onto the train tracks. It would take some time to remove it, so the journey had come to an end. Tom would need to get off the train and walk to a nearby village. The guard apologized for the inconvenience and promised that Tom would be refunded. Tom felt disappointed because he had been so excited about the job opportunity. However, he didn't mention it to the old man. He helped him off the train, carrying his heavy case, which contained a computer and important papers. The old man expressed his gratitude and noticed Tom's sad expression. He asked Tom what was wrong, and Tom shared his story about the job in the sports shop. To Tom's surprise, the old man smiled and even laughed. Tom didn't understand why he found it amusing. He felt a little angry, thinking that it was a bad day for him, and the old man was being insensitive. Tom couldn't find the words to respond or even smile. The old man noticed this and stopped laughing. Then he spoke kindly to Tom, saying, "Listen to me, Tom, and don't be sad. I am a wealthy man, and I own many sports shops in different towns. I'm actually looking for an intelligent young person like you to work in my new and biggest shop. You have shown kindness to me on this train, and I believe you are the right person for the job. What is your answer?" Tom's face lit up with joy, and he replied with a happy smile, "This is wonderful. This is the best day of my life.